Namaste everyone, good evening. My name is Lara and welcome to my channel, Lara and Yoga. So today's session will focus on hip openers and some asanas and stretches that prepare our hips, our body for full Padmasana, full Lotus posture. And these days we're spending more time at home and sitting maybe on a couch or sofa in front of our laptops or computers or on our phones. So that is a perfect way to incorporate the stretches. One of the questions I always get, how to open my hips? How will I ever be able to do Lotus pose? So what I always say, instead of sitting on a chair, instead of sitting on a sofa, try to spend 5 to 10 minutes on the carpet, on the floor, and perform these stretches. Watch TV in some of those stretches, and you will definitely see difference soon. So make sure that you have maybe a blanket or a pillow, and make sure that you're safe in your practice. One of number one rules is we never want to experience any pain, especially sharp pain or sensations in our joints, especially such as knees, hips. When it comes to hip openers, especially Lotus, knees are sometimes and mostly kind of the most fragile zones, so be mindful especially about your knees today. Okay, if you have any injuries, make sure to always listen to your body. Even if you don't have injuries, know your limits, know when to go further, know when to back off, and stay with your breath. So we're gonna start first with a few moments of just simple breathing. So you don't have to sit as I'm sitting now at this very moment. Your hips, your knees might be here. In this case, using your blanket or pillow will help tremendously. Using a block can be a little bit too harsh. So sit nice and comfortably. You can lift your hips up so your pelvis is nice and lifted, your knees are more comfortable. So whenever we're preparing for any meditation postures such as Sukhasana, cross-legged, or a half lotus or full lotus, the secret is to have a comfortable position, to have our thigh bones internally rotated so that we maintain the nice lordoid curve in our back, just a natural curve, that our knees are down and relaxed. And just find that moment of stillness. Bring your hands on your knees, roll the shoulders back, keep your face relaxed and neck long, and take a few deep breaths in and out through your nose. Just preparing your body and your mind for your little practice this evening, or this morning, or whenever you find it beneficial. Notice the quality and the strength of the breath as you take a breath in and breath out through the nose. Feel how your whole body starts to relax. Feel how your mind becomes more quiet and still as you fully bring awareness to the present moment. Try to lengthen the breath. Inhale. Exhale. One more deep breath in. And full breath out. Palms together, find gratitude for your practice, for your health. And relax your hands down on your knees, and you may open your eyes. And welcome again. So I will start with some breathing to connect with the breath in order to go deeper and more effectively into the postures. And that is what makes yoga different from other physical practices. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start into either double pigeon or just a single-legged pigeon here. So we're gonna start with our right leg in front. I will do the left one, so I'll always mirror you if you're watching from your screens. So bringing your right heel in front of the left knee with your toes in flexion, okay? So you might notice that your knees are here, that you're not that grounded, so still stay on your blanket in this case, or a pillow, Now the nice support for the knee is to have a block or a book. So you don't need a block. You can put the book underneath your knee, and that will relieve some tension and even some pain in the knee. Flexing your toes, bringing your shin parallel as much as you can with the front of the mat. That is the number one. So we flex the toes to protect the knee joint that way, and also to deepen the stretch that you get from external rotation of your hips. Second step, those of you who are already more open in the hips, is to bring the right heel on top of the left knee. And again, we want to keep our shins parallel. So this is not cross-legged. You can see the difference from how I used to sit then and how I used to sit now. So you don't want your knee to be here, and you want to, if you're falling backwards, obviously this is not the correct position for you to start your hip opening, a Lotus journey. So either staying in double pigeon if there is no pain in the knee, or into this first variation with your right leg in front of the left. If your knee is a little bit of your heel, that's fine. Again, you can support it either with blanket or the block, or you don't need to as you start to bend forward. Keep your sitting bones grounded. That's something that first wants to lift up in order for you to go deeper into stretch. Push your sitting bones down. So feel that your sitting bones are heavy. Feel that you're lengthening your lower back and your waist forward, like you want to take your rib cage past your shins. Some of you might be here, and that's fine. Some of you might be all the way down. Once you find your position, try to stay in it, find stillness, settle into your posture. And start to breathe deeply like we did at the beginning of our session today. And send your breath to that right hip joint to soften. Feel each inhalation creating more space, and each exhalation taking you into that space you created. Secret is the breath. Trying to visualize the breath entering. And you can stay around 10, 20 breaths. You can stay a minute. We're gonna go back. And if you need to, you can stretch the legs. You can massage your legs, and we're going to change. Bring now left leg either in front of the right, like we did, like explained to you from previous side, from the first side, or left heel on top of the right knee. Same principle, sitting bones grounded, left toes flexed, sitting bones down, lengthen forward, lead with the chest, inhale and exhale. Try to make your breath as smooth as possible. Shoulders relaxed. Breathe through the nose. Soften your left hip, bring awareness to that left hip joint. So it's normal to feel pain, by the way, in your glutes. It's a great posture also if you suffer from sciatica or any such pain like piriformis syndrome. And we're gonna come back up. So I advise you to stay in those postures for around a minute, or until you feel like it's too much. You can stay up to 3 to 4 minutes, even like in yin yoga, we do that. Between sides and after this pose, you can move your knees side to side, just for some hip mobility, releasing the tension from your hips. Okay, and then we're gonna come into our hands and knees position. A few times you can arch and round your back, keeping your shoulders over your wrist and hips over your knees. And just to warm up the back, because whatever we do in our yoga practice, back is always affected. So inhale, gazing up and arching the back. Exhale, rounding the back, keeping your arms straight. Just one more here. And exhale. So now we're going to come into our low lunge. Bring your right foot in front. You can tuck your toes, your left toes, and walk your toes as far back as you can to get maximum stretch in your groins, in your hip joint. So you might need 2 blocks here, or you might need 2 books here to support you. And again, you can stay as many breaths as you feel it's beneficial for you. Second step is that we open, bringing your right foot to the right corner of the mat. You can allow your foot to roll on the outer edge. And again, this time you can go deeper, bringing your both arms down and shoulders away. Okay, so you can stay around 4 minutes in this position. And then coming all the way back. Now for the next part, we're going to come into the pigeon pose. So the full pigeon, bringing your right leg to the left side. So depending how open your hips are, we want eventually for the full pose to bring shin on top of the, in front of you, parallel with the top of the mat. So you might feel if this is taking you to the side, it's a bit too strong. So you can start by bending then a little bit more, so bringing your foot 45 degrees rather than 90, and then coming all the way into the pose. You want to keep your hips square and grounded. One of the most intense hip openers that we have in yoga. And when you're ready, we're going to come back up. So I'm taking a little bit faster through these poses. You stay as long as you need to. Coming back into all four position. You can tuck your toes and do a few movements in your downward dog. Moving your hips. And then coming back onto your all four position for the left side, bringing your left foot in front, in between your both hands, tuck your right toes, walk your foot back, point the toes. Staying there for as long as you need to. If you don't have time, stay for 10 breaths, it's very beneficial. It's better to do something than nothing, even if you don't have much time. Even just staying like I'm doing now, you already feel the ease in your hips and groins. And then walk your left foot to the corner of the mat. Again, you can allow the foot maybe to drop, to fall on the outer edge. And you drop on your forearms. You might need to use blocks here to support your stay a bit higher. And just breathing there, feeling nice opening in your left hip. Staying around 10 breaths. And then bring your left foot to the right side. Just be above your right hand. Again, either coming into position with your shin parallel to the front of the mat, or pointing that toe and bringing your leg, your foot 45 degrees, shoulders relaxed. And relax your head. You can use your blanket to support you here. And then very gently coming back up after your time, back to your all four position. Tuck your toes, hips up, downward dog. Again, lift your heels on and off the ground. Move your hips in circle. Other side. Dropping the knees down, and just take a few moments in your downward dog, child's pose. Relax your head down. Let your sitting bones rest on your heels. Shoulders back. And on your inhale, lift your head up and walk your hands all the way back. So now we're going to come into some postures that prepare us for Padmasana. First, we're going to sit in Dandasana position, the staff pose, maintaining that nice like an L shape, keeping the toes flexed, hands by the side. Feel connection with your pelvic floor is toning, muscles are lifting, hands are pressing down. Make sure you're not overarching or slouching. Keep lifting the chest, pulling the lower ribs in. Take a few moments. Breathe deep breaths. And then we're going to lift up our head and relax there. Good. So we're going to start preparing into like a diamond shaped pose. Take the feet together, soles of the feet together. So we're not coming into Baddha Konasana yet, which is the butterfly. We're taking our heels more forward instead of bringing heels to the groins. And we're going to take our hands on our feet. Inhale the breath. And exhale, release the head down. You might also, if you feel you're tilting more backwards, you can sit on your blanket. You can use the block to support your head. Very nice posture. Feel the roundness of the spine, so slight flexion of the back. Our goal is not to go forward, we're more focusing on our hips now. And again, stay as long as you feel comfortable in this position and as long as you feel that benefits you. And then we're going to slowly walk our hands all the way back, extending the legs in front. Okay, so now we're going to come into nice little preparation stretches and openers for our Lotus, starting with the right leg. Okay, you can take your right foot into your left hand, flexing the toes. Okay, holding your knee and just that space around the knee, around the shin and calf muscle, and just a few times making gentle circles with the right leg. Trying to keep our spine straight, try not to relax too much. Keep that engagement of the back muscles and change the circle. And now bring the knee all the way back and forward and back and forward. Stay with the breath. Now from here, those of you who are more open in their hips can bring their foot into the left elbow crease. Flex the toes, keeping the shin parallel with the ground and bringing that shin close to the chest and just staying there. If this is too much, option is you can bring your foot towards your wrist and do exactly the same. You might be here, that's fine. Just breathe and just try with each breath to bring that leg closer to you. And just staying for a few more moments. Good. So from here, we're going to point the toes, so changing from flexion to the pointed position of the toes. Bring the right knee back as you want to bring your right knee in line with the hip. And then from here, directing your right heel towards your belly button, point the toe, and foot rests in your hip groin. So your knee might be quite away from you. If you're in this position, just bring your right foot down if knee is too high off the ground. Otherwise, if you're in your lotus, even if the knee is a bit higher, if there's no pain, stay there and try, instead of pressing the knee down, try to connect with your inner thigh muscle and use your inner thigh muscle to bring that knee down with the breath. So also strengthening that connection, mind and body, giving direction to the body, trying not to use our hands that much in our yoga practice. If you need support, if your knee is in pain or uncomfortable, you can use the blanket to support you. And again, you can walk your hands forward. Exhale, maybe hold your foot. You don't have to. Rather keep your back straight wherever you are. Maybe you're here in this position. And just stay with the breath. Sitting bones grounded. And we're going to walk our hands back. We're going to bend our left knee and bring the right ankle above our left knee. And try to press that knee away from you. A nice preparation also for our Padmasana postures that we have in our Ashtanga system. And just stay with your breath. Keeping the toes flexed, knee away from you. And then we're going to release and change the side. So same principle, starting in our Dandasana. Bring your left foot in your right hand. Make a few circles. And change the side. And then left knee back. Right leg to the front. And a few more times. And now trying to bring your right heel either into the, left heel into the right elbow crease. Maybe staying there, or maybe here, depending on the side. You will notice that one side will always feel different than the other one, and that's all normal. My right hip is much tighter, needs more work. And breathe another few moments. Feel the opening, feel the stretch. And we're gonna point now our left toe and bring our left heel to the belly button, knee to the side, and then closing the knee joint as we bring our leg into Ardha Padmasana, half lotus pose, or Janu Sirsasana, bringing your left leg 90 degrees. Be sure that you're always safe, mindful in your practice. Walk your hands forward, stay for a few moments, again engage your left inner thigh muscle, press your leg down. Stay with your breath, bring awareness to that part of your body that you're working on. And coming back up, if you're in half locus, you can stay here and bring your left ankle above your right knee for a few breaths. Good, and release. We're gonna now bring our soles of the feet together for Baddha Konasana, and just a few times move our knees up and down. Breathe, deep breaths. It's also where you are in Baddha Konasana is often a good indicator of how your lotus, how far you are from your lotus. So obviously the higher the knees are, there will be more work required, the tighter the hips are. So Baddha Konasana is a great pose to open the hips. Stay with the breath. And bring your thumbs underneath the balls of your feet. Hands on the top of the feet, and we're going to open the feet like we're opening our book. So it's in Ashtanga system, we do Baddha Konasana like this. We bend forward. For now, we're just going to stay with our spine straight. So your movement might be just a micro movement. It's quite intense. Rotation also of the hips and coming even from our ankles. So you don't want to compromise, obviously, the health of your knees and ankles if there is any tightness or hips. Just very gentle movement here. Great way to open the hips. Breathing deep breaths, breathing through the nose. And hands away. Use again your inner thigh muscles, close the legs and extend the legs forward. And now let's see how we are with our lotus, if there is any difference from where you were to where you're now after our little session of stretches. In Ashtanga system, we start with our right leg. Most of the people ask why first right leg. Right leg comes on top and left leg follows because the founder of our big teacher, Sri K. Patabi Joyce, he stated that when right leg is first comes and left leg is on top, left leg massages our spleen and liver and therefore detoxifies our body and organs. So that's the whole reason why do we do that in Ashtanga method. It's good to switch when you're meditating. So when you do your practice, I always bring my right leg first. When I'm meditating, in order for me to even both sides, I will start with left leg. Today I will show you with the right leg, Padmasana. So what do we want? We don't want movement to happen from the knee. A lot of students start pulling from here, and I often cringe or scream if you know me from classes. I don't like that. So we want to make the movement happen from the hip joint. So same like we had in our preparation from Dandasana, Janu Sirsasana. We're going to bend our right knee, point the toe, and bring your right knee as far back as you can. You can use your hand to support you, to hold your shin. One hand can hold the foot. Bring your right knee as far back as you can, knee in line with the hip, and then see from here, if you direct your heel to your belly button, closing even more that knee joint, closing so your foot rests in your groin. Now we're in a half lotus. A lot of you then start to pull the leg up. We don't want to do that. We kind of do the similar thing. So in front, flex the toe, knee to the side. Sorry, don't flex, point the toe, knee to the side. And now direct your left heel against your belly button. This hand you can use to gently rotate your calf muscle out. So use it from here to take it out so the knee can bend better. Okay, And there you go, we're in our lotus position. So if your knee might be a little bit away from the ground at the beginning, again, instead of forcing the knee to come down, you can put gentle maybe pressure on your thigh, never on the joint itself. Try rather to use your muscle to bring the knee more down. And this is our final position, or Padmasana. Again, you try not to overarch the back. Try to maintain that natural curve on our back. Okay, so sometimes depends on your body, on your hips. This posture might take years, maybe never. A lot of people are fixated on certain postures, while yoga is so much more. It's not about the final posture. Posture is never final. It's really about the journey. It's about what we can do with what we have at that moment, and that moment is never the same. We get injured, we get sick, we have babies, or any other, just life. It's just life that happens to us. So let's honor our body rather than push ourselves into any postures. You don't have to be in lotus to be enlightened or to meditate. You can breathe into any other posture, resting your back on the wall. But this should be the final posture. With time, we try to bring our knees a little bit closer, and we can then flex the toes, coming in a little bit more narrow position, and stay sitting there. In order to meditate nicely with our chin mudra, that's the sign of consciousness, taking your thumb and index finger, palms open to the ceiling, straight spine, fingers point down, and we gently drop the chin to the chest and breathe deeply into meditation. And thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed, and stay safe. Practice yoga every day, and see you next time. Namaste. Lots of love.